Arthaus.
There we go.
Yeah, we got to have the full card up and we got to break it down.
Exactly. So let me pull this up. UFC.motherfucking.com.
I know most of them, most of the fights on there. I don't know some of the guys on the card though. So
I got you, bro. I think I know all but maybe one of them.
okay, good.
I
I
see
only
you
got, I
getting
only got
into
into
some.
this like 6 months ago. So I'm
Oh, yeah?
yeah. So I'm still like I'm watching old fights. I'm like I'm
Oh, dude, I could
still
tell
pretty
you all
new.
kinds of good old fights to check out.
Yeah.
So I'm 30. I've been watching UFC since I was, I think, 14.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I grew up in a household. My parents, they're separated now, but they were together at the time, and they were big boxing fans. And so I grew up watching like Oscar De La Hoya back when Floyd Mayweather wasn't Money Mayweather. He was Pretty Boy Floyd. Felix Trinidad.
Old school.
Old, yeah, well, like old school for my generation. I
Yeah.
mean, Mike Tyson just knocking motherfuckers out. So I was into it, and then I was chilling. It was like a Saturday night, and I didn't want to watch the boxing fight for some reason. I forget. I think I was like waiting for the Floyd Mayweather fight, and Uriah Faber was fighting WEC, and I was like, damn, this is pretty sick. And that's when I found out about like UFC. I think it was around that time. I might have some dates
Yeah.
mixed up, but yeah, dude, I've been a hardcore for like at least 15 years.
Nice, nice. Well, let's let's break down. Let's break down what we got going on right now at 249. Let's start with the prelims.
All
Now,
right.
these guys I know okay, I know Nico Price and I know Sam Alvey. I don't know much of the other guys. Can you fill us in on
Yeah,
them?
man. So the thing is, this card for anybody that's new to watching fights, usually the early prelims, and then even like most of the fights on the prelims, except the main event on the prelims. Usually, it's just like people with lower records or like washed up veterans. But because they got to stack this card because of some missed fights, like even the main event on the early prelims could be like that could be a pay-per-view fight for real. Um,
Yeah.
so the fight that I'm most intrigued to watch is obviously Vicente Luque and Nico Price on the early prelims, but Bryce Mitchell is like an up and coming, super good on the ground. It'll be really cool to see what he does against Rosa, but he's got a lot of hype behind
He's 12-0.
him.
He's
Yeah,
12-0. He's coming off of submission wins. Loads of submission wins.
yeah, he's a beast on the ground, dude. But we'll see if his stand up is good. I mean, Rosa's really good on the ground too, so we'll see what happens there. That'll probably be a grappling match for sure.
Yeah. We got Nico Price and Vincente Luque.
Yeah, you got Nico, the hybrid, man. That guy's like the upkick phenom against Vicente Luque. Vicente's a durable fighter, and he's good everywhere. And Nico's just a maniac. He's kind of got some Tony Ferguson to him in the sense, not in the sense of like his great submission skills, but in the sense of he's just kind of a wild man. So
Mm-hmm.
you never really know what to expect. But I think Vicente will probably win that in like a decision.
Yeah, it seems like both those guys. I feel like honestly, I'm looking at this early prelim card just from purely on a style basis, and it looks like everything's mashing up pretty well.
Yeah, the matchmakers have been doing a really good job lately. And then you got Ryan Spann and Sam Alvey. I mean, I know a good bit about Sam Alvey. He's kind of an up and coming light heavyweight. Ryan Spann kind of looks like a big, he looks like Aljamain Sterling's older brother or something.
That's right. Ryan Spann right now is on a 7-fight win streak, and Sam,
He's a
Al-
stud.
Sam Alvey's coming off of 3 losses, so that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, man. He's a, they're, I'm pretty excited, man. And then on the prelims, you got, a couple. You got Karate Hottie versus a legitimate Hottie and Carla Esparza. Nobody's gonna mind watching that fight.
Yeah,
Couple smoke shows battling it out,
Esparza's
and
good. Esparza's really good.
yeah, they are, man. Um, so that'll be cool, man. Ton of good fights. I think that Uriah Hall Jacare fight. Jacare is probably going to smoke Uriah Hall, I think, but that'll
Yeah,
be
honestly,
an interesting one
I'm definitely thinking Jacare takes that one.
for sure. For sure.
Jacare, Jacare he's never won a title, right?
No, he has not.
No, he's been around for a long time though.
Yeah, and Uriah's like fucking Mr. Hormone over there, like looking like a physical specimen, but usually he tires out after the first round. So if Jacare can sort of weather the storm in the first round, he'll probably beat the shit out of Uriah Hall in the second or third.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it.
So what do you what fight on this prelims are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, I was gonna say Cerrone Pettis, but I'm looking at it now. I think Olenek and Verdum is gonna be sick. Like that is gonna be like straight, just a grappling masterclass right there by the two. Honestly, Olenek might, in terms of just raw wrestling, might be like number one and number two in the heavyweight division, just in terms of pure like, submission, takedown, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, don't forget about DC. DC is
yeah. Well, is he retired? Is he done?
Nah, I think that what he's pretty much said is if he doesn't fight Stipe in the next like 6 to 8 months, he's just gonna retire, but he's kind of holding out for that.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's why I said one or two, because I wasn't sure if Cormier is still in this, but okay. I guess I would get slotted for two then. But Fabricio Verdum, like that's gonna be a crazy matchup right there.
Yeah, man. I wonder what the odds are for that one. Let's see.
Check it out.
They got
Verdum's one of those guys where you don't hear about him much like recently. Like he didn't fight at all in 2019, not at all in 2020 yet. But you look at the people he's taken out, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yeah. He's insane.
I wouldn't be surprised if that one, if the ground games, usually when both have really good ground games, they kind of cancel each other out. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys gets knocked out.
Kind of like a Covington Usman thing, where they both
exactly.
They respect each other's wrestling so much that it's gonna be heavy striking.
Fuck, what a war that was, man. That was an exciting fight.
That was one of the cards that everybody was like, oh, it's just gonna be fucking so boring, just so much boring, and then no wrestling whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think now, just on that card, like a lot of people were like, like what a war, blah blah blah, and then George Masvidal came out and he was like, obviously part of this is trash talk trying to get in their heads, but he's like, they have pillow hands, like that wasn't even like I'm gonna be able to square up with them on the hands way better. And I think he does have a point. Like there is something to that. Where Usman and Covington, they're not the best strikers at all in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Covington's like a volume striker. He's kind of got like some Diaz brothers to him in that sense. Like he probably only punches at like 60-70% power, but it's just a lot of volume.
Oh yeah.
Kamaru is all power, man, and so I don't think either of them could hold a candle to Jorge's striking. I mean, his striking is
probably creative. He's ridiculous.
It's probably the best in that division. A lot of people say he's the best boxer in the UFC. It'll just be a matter of if they can keep him on the ground. And apparently, out of his camp, he's got some pretty good takedown defense and really hard to keep on the ground. So if he can keep it standing, I think he could be either of them. But I don't think I don't know, man. Kamaru's just a different animal, man. I don't see Jorge beating Kamaru, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I think there's like a mirage going around with Masvidal because he knocked out Darren Till. He had a really flashy knockout against Ben Askren, which was like that's sick, but it was also like that's a mega outlier in terms of If he came in at a slightly different angle, like so many minor things, he could have just been submitted in round 2. And then he has like the BMF belt. Never happened in history where somebody just created a belt. Fought Nate Diaz. He's a good fighter, but he's like maybe 5th, 6th in terms of like if you had to sprawl out rankings, for that time. Like he's not the best. He's definitely not the title.
Yeah, he might not even be 5th or 6th. He's probably more like 10th or 12th in that division.
Oh, is he? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's probably a little washed up at this point.
Yeah.
The thing with Masvidal too is if you think back to that Darren Till fight, Darren Till was smoking. Darren Till dropped him once or twice in that first round, and not taking anything away from Masvidal, but Darren Till, talked about his weight cut being an issue and all that, and so I mean I think Masvidal is a beast, but for me to be completely sold on him, he's got to win the real belt.
Yeah, he's gotta actually, because like I think a lot of it is hype. Like he did a lot of crazy stuff, super flashy, so many new things. But in terms of the raw name value that he took down, it's not like what Kamaru has done. It's not like what even Colby has done, I think.
No, yeah, and also Tyron Woodley beat Wonderboy Thompson twice, and Wonderboy smoked Jorge.
Yeah. Oh, that's I mean, that's the other thing too, is that if Masvidal, say Masvidal beats Usman and whatnot, right? He still has to deal with Colby and he still has to deal with Tyron, right? Two amazing wrestlers right there. So
Yeah.
I think of like his reign, unless he like really just like gets amazingly good at wrestling, which he's not going to. I think if he wins the title, it's not going to be very long. It's going to be like there's just too many wrestling killers in the welterweight division right now.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Jorge's got good MMA wrestling. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think he's got to beat those guys by knockout, or else they're just going to grind him out.
Yeah, or another flying knee. We'll see.
Yeah.
Now we got on the final match of this preliminary card, we have the washed up welterweight matchup of Cerrone and Pettis. What do you think is going to go on here?
Oh man, so my gut tells me that Pettis is going to knock Cerrone out in the first round. I love Cerrone, man. I mean, both these guys, have been watching them for such a long time, but I have a feeling that Cerrone's on a downward spiral. Pettis, he's kind of always like pretty much a 50-50 fighter. I know his record's not 100% 50-50, but I'm pretty sure he's close to 50-50 in the UFC.
He's like the thing with Pettis is that like after he got that, he did those weight cuts, and after his kind of like lightweight title reign, he's been really, really up and down in terms of
and Cerrone's coming off a nasty loss to Cowboy. Pettis likes to start off pretty strong, and Cerrone starts off pretty slow. So I think Pettis wins this one by first round knockout. But if it goes the distance, I could see Cerrone winning a decision.
The one thing that people have been putting for Cerrone is that like he's lost his last 3 fights, yes, but look at who he's lost. He's lost to Ferguson, he's lost to Gaethje, and he got shouldered to death by McGregor. Like, and then you look at Pettis, right? Pettis has lost to, let's see, it's pulling up. He's lost to Nate Diaz and Carlos Diego Ferreira, right? Two names that are, Ferreira's definitely got some showmanship to him. He's definitely got something there. Nate Diaz, obviously, he's Nate Diaz, but it's not the level of Ferguson, Gaethje, and McGregor.
For sure.
So
for sure,
I think like here's what I'll say. I'll say Cerrone wins because I think he's still got something in the gas tank. And I think that was just more the opponents he was thrown to. But I think that Pettis this is just going to be like a big, like really big downturn for Pettis, and he's just going to be like, okay, like you're losing to Cerrone, you're losing to Ferreira, you're losing to Diaz. Like it's time for you to change things up big time. But after this, like, I don't think Cerrone gets a title shot or gets anywhere near the top of the leadership. I think he's just going to stabilize around like 5th to 10th, and then kind of just like slowly go out.
Yeah. I'll play devil's advocate though, and that 3 fights in a row with Gaethje, Ferguson, and McGregor, that's a lot of damage, a lot of head trauma. And Anthony Pettis hits hard as shit. I mean, he knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who'd never been knocked out before. Nate Diaz is one of those fighters that, in my opinion, Nate Diaz can beat when he's on his game. He can beat anybody on any given night. Yes. So I chalk that up as for sure a loss, but Diaz is no slouch. I think I have a strong feeling that Cerrone's chin is gone and Pettis is going to touch it.
Well, as we decided to see, in many respects, this is going to be like a big crossroads fight for both of them, right? We're going to see if Pettis still has something where he can beat, because I think Cerrone is like 5th or 6th right now in welterweight.
Yeah, he's 6th,
which I think is way too high. But
for sure, me too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you put him against Gilbert Burns, you put him against Damian Maia, you put him against like obviously McGregor's lower than him, right, in welterweight.
I'm not sure what McGregor's ranked in welterweight, but I mean, he should probably be ranked 5th or 6th.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the rankings are kind of whack. So
cue all the McGregor haters, but I mean, that guy can. In the first round, he can hold a candle with anybody outside of maybe Khabib.
Now, all right, main card time. So we got
anybody in those 2 weight classes. Let me clarify.
Yeah. We got Greg Hardy and we got Yorgan De Castro. Do you know anything about Yorgan De Castro?
I don't know anything about Yorgan De Castro, but Greg Hardy hits hard as a motherfucker. Just ask his girlfriend.
Oh, wow. The Dallas Cowboy assaulting his ex-girlfriend, 18 months probation, lost to Alexander Volkov. This guy, man. He's got a lot.
Man.
I don't know how to rate it. I've never seen a Greg Hardy fight, and I've never seen Yorgan De Castro fight, so I'm just
I would if I had to bet money, the over-under on this is like 3 minutes. I mean, one of these guys is getting KO'd early.
Probably, honestly. I think it's just me rushing each other. It's one of those heavyweight fights that's just like heavyweight's such a weird division because
it is.
You can be like technically just way more mediocre than the guy, but if you can just throw a right hand and hit him in the right spot, like you can just end a title reign easily.
Yeah. So with this, Greg Hardy's bigger, stronger, faster, longer reach, longer legs. And he's getting good. I mean, that Alexander Volkov fight, he didn't even look that bad. And that's like a legitimate, once upon a time contender in the heavyweight division. So Greg Hardy's getting good fast. I would take Greg Hardy in this fight.
Yeah. Let's roll Hardy. Featherweight, we got Jeremy Stephens and Calvin Kattar. I don't know much about Calvin, but everybody knows about Stephens.
Calvin Kattar. He is from Boston. If you want to watch a good fight, watch him against Zabit. Zabit, it was pretty close those first couple rounds, and then Kattar really was putting it on him in that 3rd round. This is probably my dark horse. I think a lot of people's dark horse for fight of the night. But I think Calvin Kattar is definitely somebody to watch, and Jeremy Stephens. He's done pretty well, but I think Calvin takes this fight. Nice. I think it's going to be a war.
I mean, yeah, with Jeremy Stephens in there, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a fun fight to watch.
For sure.
Now we got heavyweight. We got Francis Ngannou, and we got Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Now, this is the one where everyone was like, this should be a main event just by itself.
Yep. Yeah, at first they had this one as for some reason, I think they had this one like lower on the card in the beginning, and they had the Greg Hardy fight on the prelims. I'm happy that they got this switched around. This is a really good fight to be 3rd on the card. It shows you the strength of the card. I hope it doesn't turn out like when Francis fought Derek Lewis, but both these guys are probably the 2 hardest people. Yeah, they might be the number 1 and number 2 for hardest hitters ever in the UFC.
That's kind of what I've noticed with UFC. It's almost like when a fight is hyped and the people are similar like skill sets. Like both these guys are born in Africa and they both have hands that will knock you out immediately. And they're very like these 2 guys are very close in terms of what they do, but I don't. Hopefully, it's not just like hopefully they're not too respectfully of each other and they're trying to like just jab and then like go for a takedown or like just some like clinch fighting. Like we want some actual just hard Ngannou punches. right
You
there.
know what I'm most interested about this fight that not many people have talked about yet
Yeah.
is this fight is in an arena with no fans. So we're going to be able to hear their punches. And I'm telling you, man, like when these guys hit each other, you're going to hear it. And it's going to be something that we're not really used to. One of these guys is probably going to get KO'd, and we're going to be able to hear it.
It's gonna
And
be
it's going to be a different type of experience for
one of
sure.
one of these guys is going like this fight is like an accelerant to your CTE right here.
Yeah, man. I would probably lean towards Francis in this fight, just
Mhm.
because I think he's more athletic. But Rosenstrike is he's I'm pretty sure he's a world champion kickboxer, or at least a pretty prominent one. So I wouldn't sleep on him too much. But I'm gonna have to roll with Francis in this fight.
6'2", 250 pounds. He's a monster. Now, all right, bantamweight, right? This
Yeah,
is going to be fun because we got Henry Cejudo, who king of cringe, right? Also, just unbelievably good wrestler, and he's so under. Everyone hates him because he's like weird, but he's so good.
so
He's
good.
so good. It's ridiculous. And
Yeah,
obviously Dominic Cruz, the master of footwork, right? The long
yeah.
bantamweight. He ran that division until his Garbrandt loss and until like Dillashaw came up. Like that was his division. Nobody, you know. He lost to Arai in WEC, and then he came back, and like after that, it was just win forever.
Yeah, he's probably the bantamweight goat. TJ would be the bantamweight goat without the recent steroid issue, but yeah, man, the guy's a beast. What have you watched some of his old fights?
Yeah, I have.
His
He's so fun to watch because he's
Yeah,
just so he's always moving. He's so light. He's like a noodle, just like moving around the whole thing, and then you just wax them, and then they're just getting bloodied for 5 rounds, and then he just wins decisionator.
yeah, he's got a unique style. I don't think he can win. I don't think he can beat Henry other than a 5-round decision. But I think Henry can knock out Cruz. So we'll see. To me, it's going to be all about Cruz's conditioning. Is he going to be able to be conditioned? Are his legs going to be strong underneath him? If
Right.
he's on his game, I think he wins. But if he's not, what he was a few years ago or 5 years ago, which is very likely, Henry probably knocks him out.
Yeah, I would say Cruz just because of like results and tenure and whatnot, but just being out that long, and then you're not even getting thrown up against like a like a fifth or sixth ranked guy. You're getting thrown up against Cejudo, right?
Yeah,
Like this is not a good warm up fight. And okay, if Cruz wins this and gets the championship back, undisputed GOAT for the rest of time.
yeah.
Like
And
nothing else.
And if you think about it, the only person that Cruz has lost to is Cody Garbrandt. And when Cody Garbrandt's on his game, I think he's the most talented bantamweight ever when he's on his game. But he's a head case, and so you never know what you're going to get with him. But that was a masterclass that he put on against Cruz.
Now we finally got the main event of the evening.
Yeah, I had a couple people when I reposted your thing. They were asking me my opinion for this fight, so I told them to watch your live stream. But I'd like to hear, what do you think is going to happen?
I think first round is going to be. I'm going to say this: the second round of this fight is going to be the bloodiest fight in UFC history in terms of gallons of blood spilt on the canvas. It's going to be the bloodiest fight in history, and I think Gaethje's going to lose. But I think it's gonna be a lot like how the Pettis fight went, although it's gonna be longer. Where, Gaethje's obviously he's on his game, right? He's gonna hurt Ferguson, and he's gonna cut him up. He's gonna stumble him. Maybe Gaethje will finally pull out his wrestling and do something. Probably not likely, but I think Ferguson's gonna get hurt. But like it's gonna be like the third round, fourth round. Gaethje's gonna start getting tired. Ferguson's gonna be like, I'm getting like because you've seen his fights. He gets better. He gets less tired the longer the fight goes on. So he's just going to start elbowing. I think it's going to be like a 4th round TKO or something for Ferguson, but it's the canvas is just going to be red.
Yeah. So more blood than the Clay Guida and Diego Sanchez fight.
Yes, I think.
Oh,
Do you
wow.
remember? Do you remember when Ken Velasquez took down Bigfoot Silva and just like rain punches and just made that cut above his eye?
Yep.
Just I think it's gonna be that, but everywhere. Like,
Yep.
I think
Yep.
Gaethje's just gonna walk up. Ferguson's just gonna walk up, and they're just gonna start throwing elbows, throwing punches, getting the clinch. It's gonna be wicked.
Yeah, man. I don't disagree with you. I think if Gaethje's going to win, he's got to knock him out in the first round or early in the second. The thing with Tony is Tony never spars. I don't think he's sparred in training camps for like 6 years, but he sparred for this training camp. So we'll see what that does. Maybe he starts off a little quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Justin Gaethje's got some scar tissue above his left eye that Tony is probably going to be going after. Gaethje's lost to Eddie Alvarez. He lost to Dustin Poirier. The guys that he's beat since he's been in the UFC, Tony's beat them. I don't know if Tony's fought James Vick, but Tony's beat Barboza and Cerrone, I believe.
Yeah,
So
I think.
I
Yeah, like I agree with you honestly. Like I think the mirage of Justin Gaethje. There is a mirage to it. I definitely think he's not as like unbelievably insane as people want to think. He just has. I think he's just. I mean, he's got a killer chin, and he has a very fun style to watch, and he's clearly like very skilled. Like he's a great striker, but in terms of just like, I don't think he's championship material like Ferguson is.
He is kind of in that same situation that Jorge Masvidal is, in the sense that he's lost to some good fighters, but they weren't elite fighters.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of been on this like 3-fight tear, and it's hard to kind of gauge where he actually is based off who he's beat. But I think Tony weathers the storm in the beginning. I think Justin gets tired in the 3rd and 4th round, and I think Tony chokes him out late, or there's a doctor stoppage by cut.
All his recent wins, his last 3 wins, all came in the first round. All came from TKO or KO. So I'm totally in cohesion. I think Gaethje's going to win the first round. I think he's going to go really hard. He's going to try to knock him out. He's going to put everything he has. But Tony's just going to come back. He's going to do that little like El Kukui smile, bouncing around on his side in the second round. He's going to come up and he's going to finish it.
Yeah. So for sure.
It's
another thing that Gaethje does a lot is he covers up like this and then swings. And when he covers up like this, watch out for Tony grabbing a standing Darce choke.
That's right.
Gaethje sticks his neck out quite a bit, and Tony's probably the best choke artist ever in the UFC.
The thing is, like I think Tony can brawl directly with Gaethje, but I think that Tony's jiu-jitsu and his wrestling is so much better than Gaethje's. Because, well, first of all, we haven't even seen Gaethje. Like, he doesn't do it ever. He never practices it. And I think Tony's an Eddie. He trains with Eddie Bravo. Like, he's a legit grappler.
Yeah. Well, be careful when you say wrestling, grappling, and jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Tony's jiu-jitsu for sure is better, but I think just pedigree-wise, Justin Gaethje is. He's like a D1 All-American.
Right, in terms of wrestling, yes.
So, but he, like you said, he doesn't use it, and I don't see him using it on Tony, because he'll probably get choked out. Where we would see Justin use his wrestling the most would be against a fight like Khabib to keep it standing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with you, man. I got Tony in this fight.
Yeah, man. One last thing I want to hit on too is Dustin Poirier, right? It seems like Dustin Poirier, he's never in title contention. Like his last fight, he lost to Khabib, but in that before, he beat Pettis, he beat Gaethje, he beat Alvarez, he beat Max Holloway. Like, it's weird how he's not like where Gaethje is right now, I think.
Well, he beat Max Holloway for the interim title, so he's held a belt.
Yeah.
And then when he won that belt, his next fight was against Khabib, and nobody's beat Nobody's beat Habib. The only person to even get a round on Habib was McGregor, and Habib probably even took a little bit of that round off. So, I mean, Poirier, I feel like it's Habib, Tony, Connor, Gaethje, Poirier, and I just don't see Poirier beating Tony, Connor, or Habib ever.
Yeah.
So, but he's had a belt. He beat Max Holloway. That was a war. If you've seen that fight, I mean, that was a really good fight.
I think, yeah, I think that showed. I think Max has got to stay featherweight, honestly.
For sure.
Like this,
yeah. Or put some muscle on.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, he just gets. He will just get wrecked anytime he goes up to lightweight.
For sure, man. For sure. So, yeah, man. Well, that's the fight. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be exciting stuff.
It's going to be really good stuff. Once again,
and another thing, I've pirated pretty much every UFC for the last like 8 years, but I'm actually going to buy this. I'm going to buy this pay-per-view just as a hat tip to Dana.
Hat tip, yeah, for getting this on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see what I do, but hopefully, like May 9th, hopefully with the way quarantine things are going like that, maybe some place will be opened up to where they'll have it on a big TV or whatnot. So.
Maybe. We'll to be honest, when it comes to fights, I like to watch it at home by myself or with one of my buddies that's into fights. I don't enjoy watching it around a bunch of people that don't know what the fuck's going on because they ask stupid questions and they're annoying, and I want to zero in
type.
Yeah, I want to zero in. I want to have have an old fashioned, smoke a little, and I just want to chill, man. So and really hone in. So
yeah.
I'm not much of a watch big fights in public kind of person.
Yeah, I get that. Totally get that. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on the cast. This has been Chase Maher, and yeah, he's like a real estate guy, and he like makes trillions of dollars with San Diego and like just kills the whole scene over there. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to his Twitter page, and he's always doing stuff, and he's very generous. He offered me he had a sales position open up for his thing,
Yep.
and it wasn't right for me at the time, but the fact he even was like, hey, I have this, right? Very generous guy. So if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're local, if you're like really interested in getting into real estate and you want to be a hardcore sales guy, reach out to Chase. He could probably help you out with something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Twitter, I am Chase Maher, and Tyler, I appreciate it, bro. It was a fun time, and I hope you enjoy watching the fights. And I'm gonna leave you with one thing. You said you been watching some old fights, and I want to challenge you to. I want to think of a fight that you should go watch. Oh, let's see. It's really fun, man. I don't know if you've done it, but if you watch each of Connor's fights in a row and watch his progression as a fighter, it's pretty cool and exciting stuff. So if you haven't done that, definitely check it out.
Probably
and then aside from that, definitely study up on some Tony and some Justin, because that's going to be a war, man. I couldn't think of any other fights off the top of my head, but this is a blast, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. We'll see you around on the TL, and that's Chase Maher, everyone. We'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.